Hello, love. My name is Kellyanne, and today I'm talking about the upward spiral, which is essentially just seeing repeating patterns over and over again. I talked about this in the Vibrant Coven podcast in a little snippet on 5 things that you should know about the spiritual journey, but I wanted to expand on this one particular point because it can be so frustrating to see patterns come up over and over in your life and to constantly feel like, I thought I was over this. I thought I learned. I thought I've been growing, and I thought I knew that I thought I knew how to deal with this, and yet it came up again, and either I feel like I didn't deserve it, or I felt like I still wasn't quite equipped for the kind of way that this pattern showed up. You know what I'm talking about? When you feel like, gosh, I've learned so many times over and over again that this is like a certain kind of relationship that I cannot be in. Or this is a certain kind of job environment that I do not belong in. Or this is a certain kind of something that just doesn't feel good for me. And I don't know why the universe keeps pulling me in and bringing me here to a place where I'm experiencing the same thing over and over. Well, if you believe that time is not linear, meaning it's not on a straight line like we think of timelines, but that there are so many things happening in time all at once, then you will understand the concept of the upward spiral, which is starting honestly from this big universal energy of love where you are being created, from which you are created, and starting off as a child that is playful and free, and then being constricted and constrained by all of the family values, the trauma, the disrespect, the lack of emotional safety, the lack of maybe even physical safety, just bound and constrained. And when you begin on a journey that is your own, then what you start to do is you start to move outside of those constraints and you start to push your way away from them. Now, when you break out of the box and when you start to leave the comfort zone that was introduced to you and that was conditioned into your being, that was nurtured into you and is actually not a part of your nature, you will find that you don't leave your comfort zone all in just like one big leap. I mean, you might push out of there in a big way, in a big expansive way, but ultimately you're not going to leave your comfort zone all at once, and you're not going to abandon your conditioning and abandon the tightly wound spiral all at once, okay? It takes baby steps. It takes a lot of little steps. It takes a lot of time, and it's because through your upbringing, it wasn't just a couple of hours or a couple of days during which you were conditioned. It was over a grand period of time. So you, first of all, have to give that to yourself. Have to give yourself the time and the space. But also, I want to share with you a couple of cards for the universe to give us some guidance on the upward spiral and what it means to, and what we might encounter when we are pushing out of those bounds, and maybe as we are coming back to certain circumstances, we are going to see some similarities, and that's why we might notice a pattern, but ultimately we are alleviating the pain and the suffering from those patterns when we encounter them again with the desire, with the intention to, as a spiritual person, as someone who appreciates and is invested in the personal growth journey, in the personal development, in lifelong learning, you are going to encounter this over and over again, and you might need some tools for recognizing and holding compassion for yourself as you go through them over and over again. So I have cards here from the Mood Tarot deck, and these are really funny cards because they have a very interesting vibe to them. We just saw this one, and it's called Uno, which relates to the Magician, but this is the typical image for the World card. So my friend and I were talking about this and we were a little bit confused, but I'm gonna bring all of these messages together, maybe pull some more cards from my other intuitive tarot deck that I've got, and make sure that we get guidance from the universe on some things that, you know, I might not have prepared, but that I certainly know the universe wants to disrupt some of our thinking, some of our beliefs, some of our behaviors right now. So if you are watching this, because this is in essence a group card reading, you might find that there are some things that relate to you or apply to you and some things that don't. Take what applies to you and let go of the rest, or maybe pack it in a bag. Keep it with you for the journey so that when you see circumstances for which this guidance applies, you will have it there ready to go when you need it. So we have the Three of Swords, which says, I hate mom, I love mom. We have the, I'm guessing this is the Empress, okay, which is the Queen Bish of Dick Sticks. This might actually be the Queen of Wands. I'm thinking that's who that is instead. Queen Bish of Dick Sticks, because that looks like a wand that they're holding. And it says, okay, Karen, put away the label maker. I already know what this means. Queen Bish of Mind Bullets. So 2 queens. That means 2 representatives of the feminine or the chaos energy. So we'll get into that in a second. The Queen Bish of Mind Bullets. Mind Bullets is swords, which has to do with the mind, which is pretty obvious from the actual writing on the card. And it says, been there, done that, trust me, or become a kebab. Maybe these aren't, these gotta be, you know, they've gotta be queens. I'm like, they don't look super feminine, but maybe they are. And then, like I said, we have the World card, the Magician card. It's the Uno, and it says, better luck next time, and also you're drunk. Okay, so I believe that what we have is, just to start, we have this sort of antagonism toward and around the feminine or chaos, which might bring up some mother wounds. And I believe that on the upward spiral, on the journey that we take to drink some smoothie, on the journey we take back to ourselves, to return to a part of ourselves that trusts that no matter where we are in the journey, we are always doing better than we were before. That's kind of how you want the upward spiral to look for you, is it winds in like this bigger, grander, more expanding way. One of the things that we might encounter is the mother wound, which is the desire to both be nurtured by the presence of others and also the sort of resentment toward being babied. And I think when we find this wound on the upward spiral, what we're going to encounter over and over again is trying to act as though we are better than this, act as though we know enough by now. It's kind of like that grumpy teenager energy of like, I know everything, and that's where Queen Bishop Mind Bullets is coming from. Is like, been there, done that. I already know. I already know enough. I already know everything about what is there more to know? Why do I keep having to encounter this pattern over and over again? But also the kind of pushing away of help when it comes to returning to things that are hard for you, returning to things that are a struggle for you. Sometimes we think that the reason that we need to go it alone is because it's mine. It's my struggle. It's my struggle to take on, and it's a burden to anybody else who might deal with it with me, and I don't want to take anybody else down with this ship if I start to go down. The problem with that is that's a mental block of I was never helped. I never got the help that I wanted. I never got the help that I asked. Even when I asked for help, I never really totally got the help that I desired, and now realize that I deserve, that I ultimately always deserve, especially when I ask for it. And now I have taken that to mean that instead of receiving the nurturing that I expect, I should change my expectations so that I never expect other people to help me. Ooh. The ouchies in that mommy wound. Wanting to be supported, wanting to be loved, wanting to be helped, wanting maybe even in some ways to be coddled or to be saved, and not really getting the fullness of the support that you desire, and then creating beliefs around not being deserving. And that causes you to, mind Bishop Dick Sticks, start to label things and start to categorize them as these things are for me to put me through the struggle, to test me, to strengthen me, and these things I need to stay individualistic about, and these other things are the ones that like I've always done in a team, or that I need to. So like when it comes to work that is introduced to you in a team setting, you might even try to categorize yourself as the one who doesn't need help, or as the one who can do it all themselves, or you bring back memories of not getting help when you were younger, or when you were a teenager and you were in high school and you had to do all these group projects, middle school or whatever, and you might self-identify as the person who doesn't need any help and can get it all done all by themselves. What you do to yourself when you label yourself that way is you let your spirit know, you let that part of you, that inner child that was really wanting help and really wished that they didn't have to do it all themselves and felt really overwhelmed and like it was unfair that they had to do it all themselves, but came out saying, I don't need your help. in spite of how they really felt, you're telling that inner child that even though I have the opportunity now on the upward spiral to change things, to expand, to grow, to do things differently than I did them before, and therefore push outside of the conditioning and the box that I was, oh, it's a butterfly. Bye! Wow, it's a big one. Ooh! Push outside of the box and the conditioning that that was supplied for you, that was, that treated you the way that you did not deserve to be treated. What you're telling your inner child is that on the spiral, I have to keep doing things the same. When I see this pattern again, I am going to be frustrated. I am going to be overwhelmed, and I am going to, even though it's unfair, and even though I fucking hate it, I am going to have to do this all by myself. In reality, if you feel that you are on a spiritual journey or you are always committed to your personal growth and development, you're a lifelong learner, you have a growth mindset, you are always open to doing things differently and differently in a better way, then you are on the upward spiral, my friend, and you deserve to rehabilitate and heal all of these mother wounds, all of these care wounds, and the chaos wounds of I expected something to happen and something else happened instead, or I wanted to be free to do something and I was constrained instead, or limited by the options that I had, and so therefore I can't trust that the chaos that I desire and the freedom and the flexibility and the creativity of the chaos energies that I desire are limited to me and are not available to me. What you need to relearn is the capacity for allowing other people in and inviting them in and continuing to try, giving people chances, giving yourself a chance to experience something different by virtue of asking for something different than you might expect to happen. That is a really big part of the upward spiral, is acknowledging that I expect certain things to happen when I see these patterns reoccur, but I am not going to allow that to limit me. I am not going to force myself into a situation that I know that I don't like just so I can do things over again the same way. Every time you see a pattern reoccur, that is an opportunity, my love. That is an opportunity to do things differently and better than you ever did before. And that's why Better Luck Next Time and also You're Drunk is a companion to this message, because you are the creator. You are the one who is cultivating the magic in your life. And if all you believe that you're going to receive is the energy of no and the energy of shut down expectations, then what you're going to keep doing is you're going to keep filling yourself on all of these false ideas, and you're going to stay in an upward spiral that is constrained and that is the same as you've always samed before. What you really want is to expand and to keep that openness of heart, openness of mind, openness of spirit that you have to lead the way, then you're going to have to allow the next time to be the time that you do things differently that you imagine and you visualize what it is that you want to come out of this. You acknowledge all of the failures that have happened in the past. Failures as in the way that you wanted things to go and they did not go that way. Failures. You acknowledge and celebrate, just remember and visualize, celebrate all of the times that, wow, actually that was an exception to the rule that I've learned of like I'm never supported. Acknowledge and celebrate those memories. Take record of what worked and which part of the process made it a success for you. And then visualize your future. Visualize the outcome that you desire. And what is helpful for me, and I'll share this practice with you, is to visualize 2 ways that things could happen. And hold out your hands, and you can close your eyes or you can look at them, but I find that it's more helpful to close my eyes so I can like really imagine without like anything distract me, because hello, butterfly passing. But you still turn in one direction and you look at the worst possible scenario. You look at what you expect to happen. All of the things that you hate about this pattern that is reoccurring, and you just imagine that happening in front of you. And then you turn and you, in your mind's eye, look at this other little world that you're creating. And you imagine if everything that you want to go right does, and what it would take for that to happen. Because when you imagine yourself being the one to ultimately change your own destiny, to change your own patterns, that gives you such a sense of self-respect, of autonomy, of being in control of your life and the way that you are cultivating the vibrancy that you are calling in to your world. A vibrant life is not one in which you shut people out. A vibrant life is not one in which you are coiled up in frustration and unfairness about how the world keeps giving you the same patterns over and over again, and you thought you were past this and you thought you didn't have to deal with this anymore because I'm out of high school, I'm out of school. I thought that, all of this pettiness or all of this this bullshit was over with. Ding dong. Guess who's here? The same pattern of life. The same pattern of interacting with humans. The same pattern of being who you were raised to be and recognizing that you have your own patterns. Well, you were the cause of some of the things that you actually hate by choosing to keep around some of the people in your life who you know are not really great for you, but you keep them around anyway. For staying in situations that you know are taxing on your mental, emotional, spiritual, or physical well-being, but you stay in them anyway. There are all kinds of situations that you might be putting yourself in that cause patterns to reoccur. And in each and every one of those, what you can do is you can visualize, you can choose what you want to do, and you can see yourself doing things differently. You can see yourself creating different behaviors so that when you actually go and live them, when you actually go and act upon them, it's not so hard because you're not figuring it out for the first time, okay? You've already seen yourself do it, so you've already imagined. It's like having an imaginary, fight with somebody. It's having an imaginary conversation with somebody. When you have that imaginary come to Jesus moment with yourself of, what if I tried this? And I don't shoot myself down, and I don't try to tell myself that's never going to work because it never has worked, but instead I say, what if it works this time? Then you will have a sense of, maybe if not confidence, then a solid sense of knowing what you want. And I think even just developing that level of faith, that level of trust in yourself, of, I might be seeing this pattern again, but before I didn't know exactly what I wanted, before I didn't know exactly how I wanted it to turn out, I just thought, better, please. Not the way it did last time, but now I've really seen it happen. I've really watched everyone in my life play things out in the way that I desire, in a way that feels good for me. That creates a sense of trust in yourself. And that trust ripples out. Other people can feel, whether they know it or not, whether you are trusting in your sacred asking, in that sacred ask of, I'm here to give both of us the opportunity to do this different than maybe we've ever done before. And it's hard for me, but I am asking, and I am here doing the thing. People can feel that and will receive the invitation to do things differently than they've ever done before. It might be it. I think one of the worst things about encountering patterns on the upward spiral over and over again is that we might be under the impression, or we might have the belief, that other people aren't going to want to come with us on the journey, and other people are automatically going to give us what we've seen them give us over and over again. But that stifles the creation of a new and better. And if you believe in new and better, then you ultimately want to give people that chance without second guessing or trying to put words in other people's mouths. Just give the ask and then shut the fuck up. Don't say, if it's no, it's fine. If you can't, I understand. If you want to do it the way that I always expect people to do it, then I guess you'll just do it that way, and I'll just do things the way that I've always done them. Create the ask in your mind. Trust people before you even come to them with your ask. Start with trust. And people will feel that. People can feel when you are giving them the opportunity to do things in a way that maybe they've never done before. Wow, nobody's ever asked me if I could do that. Wow. Whenever I've cried in front of somebody, I'm just thinking of like how other people have responded to me, giving them permission to do things differently than they ever have before. When I cry in front of people, I usually say I'm sorry a lot, but as soon as I said I'm sorry to Kellyanne, she said, please don't be sorry. I love that you're crying because it shows me how deeply you feel about this, and that lets me know that I need to respond differently. How does that feel for you? I'm gonna draw 2 more cards on this energy so that we can get one last message, because I've already given you a pretty great practice for creating the outcome that you want while you are on the spiral. But these 2 are going to help us. These are from the Voyager Tarot, which is an intuitive tarot deck. And the universe is leaving us with a message from the Man of Worlds, the Achiever, and the Sage of Cups, the Regenerator. So we've got the mommy wounds, and healing them looks like looking at how your relationships model the toxic masculine identity of perfectionism and I can't ask other people. Here's an obstacle for you. If you are so resistant to asking other people for help because you're worried that they won't do it as well as you're going to do it, I know that there are a lot of people out there who feel that way. If you are modeling for other people the toxic masculine trait of, I can't ask anybody to fill in this role that I usually play because nobody's going to do it as well as I can do it, then what you are doing is you are blocking yourself from receiving the regenerative rest that you deserve, and you are also blocking a relationship that could build some maybe intimacy between yourself and other people. Because what happens when you trust people with things that you don't trust them with is you open up a dialogue about, this is how I do it, these are the expectations that I have, what are the expectations that you have, what are the skills that you bring, and let me know if I can support you. But ultimately, instead of doing the whole group project yourself or doing what you're used to doing alone, when you invite somebody else in to take off a big chunk of the responsibility there, what you were doing is saying, I'm not going to give 100% to this. I am going to give 20% to this. And the other 80% is going to be supplied by this other person. But the 20% that I am giving is checking in, holding them accountable, asking them what they need from me, and making sure that we are opening a line of communication so that we're both ultimately getting an A+ on this, and not feeling like at the end we fall back into patterns of mistrust. The Sage of Cups knows that nobody develops wisdom by only listening to themselves and by only doing things by themselves for themselves. You develop wisdom when you encounter situations with other people that prove you wrong, that help you to reformat, again, change the patterns, the disruptive patterns, the destructive patterns that you're used to, that, you know, through your spiritual infancy, you just accepted because that was all that was given to you. The Sage of Cups, the Regenerator, knows that if life is to flow a little more easily, and if the upward spiral is to become more of a joyful experience and less of something that I have to do, that I have to keep doing because I want to be better and because I want to experience more of what I want and less of what I don't want. So I have to keep learning. I have to keep accepting that there are going to be these lessons from the universe. What you want to give yourself is the flowing opportunity to abandon, leave behind some of the things that have been dragging you down and making you revisit lower parts of the spiral that you've come from, and helping you to move forward, onward, upward, expansively, fluidly, creatively, connectively, You know what I'm saying. If you believe in the upward spiral, if you believe in that personal journey of growth, then you have to stop trying to be the achiever. You have to stop trying to be the one who does it all. And you have to start nurturing yourself in the process of asking other people and bringing other people into the mix of helping you to nurture yourself, helping you create and hold space for you to give 20%, so that instead of giving 100%, you've got a whole 80% to do something totally else with. I've never had this amount of space before. What are you going to do with it? Hopefully it is to nurture yourself through those mommy wounds, through the mother wounds of, I asked for help and I didn't receive. I asked for love and I didn't receive. I asked for respect and I didn't receive. I asked for guidance and I didn't receive. I asked for mentoring and I didn't receive. I asked for safety and I didn't receive. I asked for trust and I didn't receive. I asked for honesty and I didn't receive. You are so deserving of a flowing, creative, upward spiral journey. And I hope that that's what you get out of life's experience through the guidance from these cards. If you would like more resources and like palpable, printable coloring page or journal prompt or card reading, more card readings in excess, video series that were not released on YouTube, podcast episodes that are not released to the public, those kinds of resources, palpable, tangible resources for your personal growth, for your spiritual journey, for your growth mindset to just like expand into, then check out the link in my caption to the Vibrant Coven on Patreon so that you can continue your journey on the upward spiral with me, someone who is cultivating a culture of compassion, and with a community that is fully flowing with people who are committed. I mean, we've got a few people in there right now, but they are committed to their personal growth. Bet that, okay? Bet on that. We are in here committed. We are accountable to ourselves. We are accountable to each other. And if that is something that you desire more of in your life, there are so many different versions of how you can interact and engage with and get help and support from. Hello, here's an opportunity to ask for support and help. Are you going to take it? There are so many different versions in the Vibrant Coven that you can engage with, that I want to make sure that you know that that resource exists and that you know that all of these tools are out here for you, because to go through it alone, it doesn't make any sense. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. I love you so much. I do. I love you so much. I believe that you are deserving of all the love and nurturing you desire, and all the support that you ask for when you ask for it. And I hope that you join me in the Vibrant Coven, but I also hope that you have a beautiful, wonderful rest of your day.